Welcome back to Never Not Ask with me, John Martin, and we have another station review. We're back in the great cesspool of London, and I'm making a visit to West London. We're in the London Borough of Hillingdon to find out the London Underground run station of West Ruislip. Have I used London enough times in this first paragraph? Who knows? Let's go. And while, yes, this is an underground run station, it does have national rail service from Chiltern, and that is what we're going to concentrate on. The station sits on Station Approach, which then becomes Long Drive as it goes under the railway. The appropriately named Grand Central Avenue is opposite the station. Northolt is to the southeast, RAF Northolt is to the west, and we have a road called the Runway near to the station. The rest of Ruislip is obviously north of South Ruislip. The station sits on the line that runs from Marylebone to High Wycombe, Banbury and beyond. Northolt Park is 1.8 miles to the southeast, West Ruislip is 1.8 to the northwest, east of the station is a waste plant, and the London-bound tracks pass to the north, while the country-bound track to the south. There is a branch here that heads south from here, paralleling the central line towards Greensford, and then carries on towards the Tangler lines on the Great Western near Old Oak Common. This was used for the occasional parliamentary ghost train prior to COVID and HS2. Confessions. This isn't a part of London I ever get the hang of. So many stations here that are either Harrows, Sudbury's, Ruislip, or a combination of both. And every time Jeff Marshall does a video about some obscure parliamentary bus train reversing manoeuvre here, I try to concentrate. I really do. Really do. But I just don't believe that West London exists. But apparently I'm here. The story of South Ruislip Station begins in the early 20th century, during a period of rapid railway expansion across West London and Chilterns. The line through the area was constructed in 1906 by the joint efforts of two major railway companies, the Great Western and the Great Central. Their joint route linked London with High Wycombe and the Midlands, providing services from both London Paddington and London Marylebone. The station itself was opened in 1st of May 1908, but it was not known as South Ruislip at all. Instead, it was Northolt Junction, reflecting its location close to the meeting points of the routes east of the station. From this junction, 4 tracks ran westward towards Ruislip Gardens and West Ruislip, before narrowing again to 2 tracks further down the route. As the surrounding suburbs expanded in the early 20th century, the station's name evolved to better reflect the communities it served. In September 1932, the station was named South Ruislip and Northolt Junction, acknowledging the growing residential districts nearby. Eventually, 30th of June 1947, the station received the much simpler name of South Ruislip, which it retains today. During the 1930s, London Underground network was undergoing massive modernisation and expansion. As part of the New Works programme between 1935 and 40, plans were made for the extend the London Underground Central Line westward alongside the existing Great Western and Great Central tracks. Construction of a new station building at South Ruislip began as part of this project, intended to integrate London Underground services to the mainline existing railway services. However, progress was interrupted by the kerfuffle of the Second World War, delaying completion of the extension. After the war, work resumed, and on the 21st of November 1948, the Central Line finally reached South Ruislip, bringing London Underground trains to the station for the first time. The new station was designed by architects Brian Lewis and F.F.C. Curtis, with distinctive rounded booking hall was not finished until 1960. Throughout the later 20th century, the station continued to evolve with the National Rail Network. In 73 and 74, the track layout through the junction was simplified and modernised to allow faster running for trains heading towards Marylebone. In 1990, the traditional manual signal box was removed and replaced with modern colour light signalling that was remotely controlled. There are 4 platforms at the station. The Central Line platforms form one island platform of their own. And on the main line, the down mainland platform with platform 3, which is 125 metres long, and the London-bound main line is platform 4, which is 141 metres long. There is an additional fast line running between the two stopping tracks. Both platforms are linked to the ticket hall and the Central Line platforms by a subway link. The Department of Transport classes as an F1 category station, which is a small, unstaffed station. And while the station itself is staffed, it is only staffed for the Central Line section. The National Rail section isn't staffed. Marks for services, 1.5 out of 10. We're on the Marylebone to High Wycombe line here. Off-peak, this gets one train an hour from London, but only one train every 2 hours heading into the city. Trains heading towards London that call at South Ruislip also call at Sudbury and Harrow Road. Those that don't call at South Ruislip call at Denham Golf Course and Sudbury Hill Harrow. Yes, two stations with both Sudbury and Harrow in the name, because this doesn't get confusing. Anyway, Marylebone is 20 minutes away, Wembley Station is 10, High Wycombe is about half an hour away. During peak and weekend, the station gets an hourly service both ways. In the peak, some services are extended. Looking at the 24 to 25 figures, we have the most popular destination as Marylebone, with 21,331 journeys, followed by High Wycombe, Wembley Stadium, Gerrard's Cross and Beaconsfield. Annual entry and exit figures are 165,020 entries and exits. So about a quarter of the people starting their journeys here will be heading to Marylebone. Seems a bit low. And there is a daily average of 452 passengers. For comparison, 1.6 million people use a tube station here per year, so about 10 times as many. The weekly average is 304 National Rail service per week, giving us about 10.5 passengers per train. Passenger numbers are up on last year, where they dipped dramatically. However, we're only about 3/4 of the pre-COVID numbers. Marks for onward travel, 2 out of 5. Obviously, we have the Central Line here that heads to West Ruislip heading north, but if you're on a National Rail service anyway, you'd stay on that for West Ruislip. Or vice versa, you'd be coming and get off at West Ruislip rather than that. The intermediate stop on the Central is Ruislip Gardens. However, it is a useful connection going south, as the number of passengers using the underground stations show. Bus-wise, we have 2 daytime routes, a night bus and a school bus from here. The 114 bus from Mill Hill Broadway goes through Harrow, comes here and heads to Ruislip. The E7 starts from Ealing Broadway, goes through Greenford, heading to Ruislip. And the N118 night bus comes from Trafalgar Square, goes through Wembley, and guess what, ends up in Ruislip. Marks for accessibility, 2 out of 10. The booking office is staffed, there are indicators on the platform, however the platforms themselves are not accessible, accessed only by steps. Marks for station facilities, 4 out of 10. Inside the booking hall there are ticket machines, there's a manned ticketing office with a small shop. Going to the High Wycombe bound platform, the stairs are covered by a permanent building that also houses some seating. On the London bound platform, the covered seating is under a clear plastic shelter. There's also some seating in the open on both platforms. Otherwise, aside from storage for cycles, there are a few facilities here. We have no toilets, we have no car parks. The fictional National Rail website also says there's no seating here, but obviously, and no indicators, but obviously you can see them in the videos. Marks for care and character, 6 out of 20. The underground station itself is perfectly nice. It's a suburban station, but then you pass through the gate, through the subway, and then to the Never space. The station is managed by the underground, but it's clear while London Transport care about their lines, they don't really care about the National Rail space. The platforms are bare, with no attempts to bring local character to them. The London-bound platform has an abandoned building with faking paint. There are a lot, well, I assume it's abandoned because the paint is peeling everywhere. The large advertising hoardings are trying and failing to block the ugly car dealerships and low-rise commercial buildings that are behind the platform. Marks for nearby things, 5 out of 10. Let's start local, then move a bit further afield. North of the station, there are a few supermarkets and a conference centre. Looking at my photos of the ugly car dealerships, I wondered who would put a conference centre and banqueting hall here. Then I read the reviews. Some of them make my view of this station seem positive. The place apparently has rude staff and unmaintained toilets. There is also a retail park in the shadow of the waste incinerator building. Heading south, it's mostly suburban with a couple of parks. Then we reach the aerodrome at RAF Northolt. Southwest, we find the memorial to the Polish Air Force and the brave and vital contribution they played in the Second World War. Overall, we get 20.5 out of 65, which comes out at 31.5%. The service here is bad. The platform is decaying, and this isn't a pleasant place to come to. Tube station side is fine, but we're not looking at that here. We're looking at National Rail. Thanks once again for coming to watching this as I travel around the country. Please like and subscribe and ring that bell and be notified of the next station review.